To hear that Kody is telling Janelle that the boys knew to apologize to me, I didn't know he was doing that.
Before we crack open the explosive court files and the secret depositions that threaten to shatter the entire Brown family legacy, let me pause for a moment. Our team works tirelessly to bring you the deepest dives, hidden truths, and shocking revelations behind the reality shows you can't stop watching. If you love this level of raw, unfiltered analysis, hit that like button right now. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon, because what's coming next is even more shocking than you can imagine. Your support is what keeps us digging into these stories that others won't dare touch. Now, let's dive straight into the storm. To understand how everything began unraveling, we can't just start at the happy beginnings. We have to jump directly to the breaking point. In 2021, Kody Brown finally packed her bags, loaded Truly into the car, and left Flagstaff for Utah. It wasn't just a move, it was a declaration. Kody pretended to be at peace with this long-distance parenting, occasionally visiting, sometimes calling. On the surface, it looked civil. But whispers from Kristine's inner circle painted a much darker picture. Kody's visits grew rare. His calls became short, sharp, and cold. According to one former crew member who had a front-row seat, this quiet tension finally exploded in the spring of 2023. And surprisingly, it wasn't some massive fight that pushed Kristine into legal war. It was something much smaller, almost mundane, but devastating. A medical emergency. One night, Truly suffered a terrifying asthma attack, bad enough to rush her to the ER. Alone and terrified, Kristine called Kody again and again, 4 times, straight to voicemail. She texted, she begged, she panicked. Hours later, near sunrise, Kody finally responded with a casual text. "Is she okay now? I was sleeping. My phone was on silent." For Kristine, this wasn't just negligence, it was betrayal. Years of simmering doubts boiled into certainty. Kody wasn't just absent, he was a roadblock in moments that mattered most. Within weeks, Kristine had hired one of Salt Lake City's most ruthless family law firms, determined to fight for sole custody of Truly Grace Brown. Kristine's legal team didn't need spies or shady witnesses. Their strongest weapon was hiding in plain sight, Kody's own words, recorded over more than a decade of Sister Wives episodes. The leaked filing was structured like a television script, episode references, timestamps, and a highlight reel of Kody's coldest, most damning parenting moments. What once aired as family drama was reframed as courtroom evidence, proof of a long, undeniable pattern of neglect. At the center of their case was the infamous Isabel scoliosis surgery. Kristine and Isabel had pleaded with Kody to be present, but he refused. His excuse? COVID safety. But Kristine's attorneys flipped the narrative. If the world could learn to live cautiously during the pandemic, why couldn't a father show up for his daughter's life-changing surgery? A veteran family lawyer we consulted, James Coran, explained it bluntly. This isn't just bad judgment. In court, this looks like abandonment. Kody's words and actions painted him as a father who prioritized control and convenience over compassion. Kristine's attorneys didn't frame this as an old wound, but as a chilling forecast of the future. In their leaked opening statement, they declared, "This is only the beginning." From there, the case stretched beyond medical neglect into emotional abandonment during the COVID years. Detailed calendars of 2020 and 2021 revealed just how absurd the imbalance was. Endless days spent at Robin's home, while Kristine's door barely saw him. And every word Kody had said on camera became ammunition, turning reality TV into a courtroom weapon. This wasn't a father quietly slipping away from his child's life. This was a man consciously and deliberately retreating. Kristine's lawyers even backed it with psychological studies, showing that Kody's so-called COVID rules weren't protection at all. They were excuses for emotional withdrawal. The most powerful evidence, however, wasn't Kristine's testimony or the court's research. It was Kody's own confession. His words dripping with resentment for Kristine, indirectly staining his relationship with his children. The most haunting example? His infamous knife in the kidneys remark. Kristine's lawyers reframed it, not as marital bitterness, but as proof of a toxic home environment. Legal analyst James Coran broke it down. When a father's hatred for the mother bleeds into the home, the children are poisoned by it. This isn't just a broken marriage, it's a hostile battlefield that damages the child directly. Kristine's team had painted a brutal picture. A father missing in medical emergencies, absent during a global crisis, and emotionally toxic within his own walls. And just as the case was heating up, another bombshell detonated. This time, it wasn't just Christine standing against Kody, it was Janelle Brown. Her sworn affidavit blindsided Kody's entire legal team. He had prepared for Christine's accusations, ready to dismiss her as bitter and exaggerating. But he hadn't counted on Janelle, the calm, rational, steady wife, taking Christine's side. And Janelle's words didn't just echo Christine's claims of neglect. They went further. They accused Kody and Robyn of something darker: parental alienation. Unlike neglect, which can be passive, alienation is deliberate. It is manipulation. It is psychological warfare. Janelle's affidavit described Kody and Robyn's household as a fortress, where other wives and siblings were cast as dangerous outsiders. And her stories were chilling. She recalled overhearing Kody tell 9-year-old Solomon, "Your brother doesn't respect your father. That's why we need to be careful." This wasn't protection, it was poisoning. Even more disturbing were Janelle's claims of communication control. Calls from older siblings blocked, FaceTimes ignored, gifts from Christine's children delayed or handed over with mocking comments like, "Oh, look what they sent." It wasn't just distance, it was sabotage. If the court believed Janelle, Kody wasn't just a disengaged dad, he was an active manipulator, reshaping his youngest children's view of their entire family. And that, according to insiders, changed everything. The insiders changed everything. The most explosive twist in Janelle's affidavit didn't just mention Kody, it dragged Robyn straight into the spotlight. Under oath, Janelle claimed she believed Robyn was actively coaching little Ariella. She recounted a chilling moment when the toddler, barely old enough to understand family rifts, parroted a line nearly identical to Robyn's confessionals. "She doesn't love daddy like we do." For Janelle, this wasn't innocent mimicry, it was indoctrination. Her affidavit pushed the court to widen its scope. This wasn't only about Truly anymore. Christine's legal battle had begun as a custody case, but Janelle reframed it as something much larger, a trial for the very soul of the Brown family. Christine's lawyers laid out Kody's neglect of the children he abandoned, while Janelle's testimony revealed a darker truth, that the children closest to him were being systematically manipulated. Suddenly, the judge wasn't looking at one man accused of being absent. He was staring at a father who had both neglected and poisoned his family from within. The stage was set for an all-out legal war, where every careless word Kody had ever uttered on national television would come back to haunt him as Exhibit A, B, and C in the trial of his life. We had already broken the news of Janelle's damning affidavit accusing Kody and Robyn of a psychological crusade. But the next chapter was just as shocking, because this time, the patriarch decided to fight back. Kody and Robyn launched a counterattack, not with evidence of their innocence, but with a scorched earth plan to completely destroy Christine and Janelle's credibility. What followed was a brutal war of depositions, psychological evaluations, and ultimately a courtroom showdown that would strip Kody of his power and humiliate him before the very children he claimed to protect. It was, as one insider put it, the day the self-proclaimed king lost his kingdom. Confronted with Christine's detailed evidence of neglect and Janelle's devastating claims of alienation, Kody's legal team knew the truth. They couldn't win on the facts. The footage from Sister Wives was undeniable. The world had seen it. Instead, they pivoted to a risky strategy ripped from Kody's own playbook: attack the accusers. His official response didn't read like a defense. It read like a manifesto. Kody painted himself not as a neglectful father, but as the victim of a vindictive conspiracy, masterminded by bitter ex-wives hungry for revenge. Legal analyst James Corrin summed it up perfectly. This is the scorched earth defense. You don't fight the facts, you fight the motives. You tell the court that your accusers can't be trusted because they're liars driven by anger. It's a high-risk move. It can win everything, or it can blow up spectacularly. At the heart of this counterattack was a bizarre doctrine Kody's attorneys dubbed the Patriarchal Protection Doctrine. It was dramatic, it was theatrical, and legally, it was weak. According to this narrative, Kody's harsh rules, his favoritism toward Robyn, even his refusal to attend Isabel's scoliosis surgery weren't neglect. They were sacrifices, made for the greater survival of the family. Kody wasn't deserting his children, his lawyers argued. He was leading them. He wasn't absent. He was a guardian. His neglect was reframed as protection. But the counterattack couldn't ignore Janelle's affidavit. To fight her claims of alienation, Robyn herself was thrust into the hot seat. Through her lawyer, she filed her own sworn statement. one that sources describe as the portrait of a woman under siege. Robin claimed she had been unfairly targeted since the very beginning, painted as the scapegoat of the family. She framed Christine and Janelle's testimonies as nothing more than jealousy boiling over into a smear campaign. In one chilling excerpt, she allegedly declared, "I have been treated like the scapegoat of this family since day one." By now, the lines were carved in stone. On one side stood Christine and Janelle, accusing Kody of neglecting one child and manipulating the others. On the other stood Kody and Robin, claiming they were the victims of a revenge plot fueled by jealousy and bitterness. The stories were so incompatible, the court had no choice but to escalate the process. That's when the case entered its most brutal stage, discovery. Every Brown family member would be dragged into grueling depositions, sworn to speak the truth word by word with no cameras, no editing, and nowhere to hide. These weren't ordinary interviews. They were endurance tests designed to catch every stumble, every contradiction, every flicker of rage. Christine Brown was the first to face the fire. Kody's attorney, Mr. Davies, tried to discredit her as unstable and hypocritical. According to transcripts obtained by our source, Davies pressed relentlessly. Davies: "Miss Brown, you claim Mr. Brown's COVID rules were a cover for ignoring your daughter. But didn't you also travel during the pandemic? Didn't you attend gatherings? By your own logic, weren't you endangering Truly too?" Christine: "I followed CDC guidelines. My decisions were about living safely. His rules weren't about safety, they were about control, about avoiding responsibility." The attack grew more personal. Davies: "Did you ever tell Truly her father doesn't love her? Did you ever say he was a bad dad?" Christine: "Never, that would be cruel. I only explained in age-appropriate terms why he wasn't around. I told her, Daddy has strict virus rules, so he's at Robin's house." Christine's composure never cracked. Calm, steady, and unshaken, she redirected every attack back onto Kody's choices. Then it was Kody's turn. His deposition stretched nearly 7 hours. Christine's attorney, Ms. Evans, came prepared with a devastatingly simple tactic. Use Kody's own words to destroy him. With a laptop in hand, she played sister wives footage right there in the deposition room. Clip after clip, Kody was forced to confront the words that had already been broadcast to millions. Only now, they were being weaponized against him in a court of law. And according to insiders, that's when the mask finally began to crack. "Mr. Brown, tell me about your daughter Isabel's surgery in 2020. You didn't attend, did you?" Kody stiffened. "I wasn't leaving my family during a pandemic. It was the hardest decision of my life. I sacrificed." Evans fired back. "A sacrifice? Then let's see what Isabel sacrificed." She pressed play. The room filled with the sound of Isabel sobbing on screen. "You see your daughter there devastated. Do you still believe it was the right decision, Mr. Brown?" Kody's tone snapped. "That's television. They edited it for drama. They didn't show the hours I was on the phone, the bigger picture." Evans didn't flinch. Was Isabel's crying edited? Was her pain fictional? Kody slammed the table. "You're twisting this!" The questions grew sharper. Evans replayed season 17, episode 3. Kody's infamous words, "It was like a knife in the kidneys." "That's how you describe the mother of 6 of your children. Violent language, isn't it?" Kody sputtered. "It was a metaphor. I was angry. She betrayed me." Evans struck again. "Did Truly betray you, Mr. Brown? No? Then why punish her? Why vanish for months? Your anger was at Christine, but your neglect scarred your daughter. Isn't that the truth?" By now, Kody was red-faced, pounding the table. "This is character assassination. I love my children. This is a farce." But insiders say the damage was done. Instead of a wronged father, Kody came off as arrogant, combative, and blind to his own failures. Christine remained calm and unshaken. Kody unraveled in real time. The depositions left the judge staring at a battlefield of contradictions. He said, she said, words without proof. The court needed something indisputable. And so the nuclear option was deployed, a psychological evaluation. Enter Dr. Anna Sharma, a respected family psychologist. For 6 weeks, she interviewed Kody, Christine, Robin, and the children. She tested, probed, and observed every dynamic. Her final report, more than 80 pages long, landed like a grenade in the courtroom. Her assessment of Kody was ruthless, narcissistic, authoritarian, unable to put his children's needs before his pride. Christine's profile painted her as stable and nurturing. Robin's evaluation was more complex, not demonized, but described as an enabler, someone who protected Kody's dysfunction and allowed it to poison the household. But the most devastating revelations came from the children. 13-year-old Truly broke hearts. Bright, resilient, but aching for her father's presence. She admitted, "I know he loves me, but he loves being at Robin's house more." Her loyalty to Christine was unshakable. Her mother was her anchor, her safety. Then came Solomon and Ariella. Their interviews confirmed Janelle's worst fears. Solomon tensed at the mention of his older siblings. He repeated Kody's rhetoric. "Dad says we can't see them. They might have germs or bad attitudes." A boy torn between missing his brothers and desperate for his father's approval. Ariella's responses were even more haunting. Barely old enough to understand, she echoed scripted adult lines. Christine took Truly away. They didn't follow the rules. No memory, only words borrowed from Robin and Kody. To Dr. Sharma, this was a screaming red flag of parental alienation. Her recommendations were blunt. Christine should be granted sole custody of Truly, but she went further, urging the court to intervene with Solomon and Ariella to stop the alienation and repair broken sibling bonds. When the final hearing came, the courtroom was silent. No cameras, no crowds. Just Kody, Robin, Christine, their lawyers, and a weary judge holding the future in her hands. Her ruling cut deep. Mr. Brown, the evidence, much of it your own, tells the story of a father who chose abdication over responsibility. A man who punished a child for the sins he believed her mother committed. Christine Brown has been the consistent caregiver. Therefore, this court awards her sole physical and legal custody of Truly Grace Brown. The words struck like a hammer. Sole custody meant Kody no longer had a say. No voice in her schooling, her medical care, her spiritual life. Legally, he was reduced to a visitor. But the judgment wasn't finished. The judge turned to Solomon and Ariella. This court does not usually intrude in intact households, but the psychological evidence shows systematic alienation. These children are being cut off from their siblings, raised in distrust. It is damaging, and it will stop. Then came the bombshell. For at least 6 months, all visitation between Mr. Brown and Solomon and Ariella shall be supervised by a therapeutic supervisor appointed by this court. This supervision is to prevent further alienation and to rebuild sibling bonds. Supervised visitation, a penalty usually reserved for dangerous parents. Kody and Robin gasped in disbelief. Their reign at Coyote Pass shattered in an instant. The judge ended coldly. "Mr. Brown, you created this family. Now this court commands you to let your children be part of it." The gavel fell. Kody entered the courtroom declaring himself patriarch. He left branded an unfit father, humiliated, stripped of authority, forbidden to be alone with his youngest children. For Christine, it was bittersweet triumph, freedom, safety, and the chance to raise Truly without fear. For Janelle, it was vindication, her bravery forcing the system to protect the siblings' bonds. But for Solomon and Ariella, the road ahead would be hardest. 6 months of therapy could not erase years of poison. And Kody? He sulked in his Coyote Pass fortress, railing against a rigged court, swearing to appeal, blind to the truth. He hadn't lost his family to Christine, Janelle, or the system. He had handed it over himself. The self-proclaimed patriarch was left king of nothing, a broken crown, a fractured legacy, and a lonely kingdom of two.